The views and opinions expressed on the Nova Society are those of the panelists and guests and do not necessarily reflect the views or opinions of the Phoenix Research Institute or any institution which any panel member is associated. Reproduction or dissemination other than for the purpose of education or information without the express written permission of the Phoenix Research Institute or Nova Society Media is strictly prohibited.
We're recording this on a Wednesday.
Yes.
Yes.
And the Mets can close out the Phillies tonight at 5:00 for this game. I'm like walking around the house, pacing back and forth, tingling. A friend of mine postponed heart surgery. I had asked him if he wanted to get together for a game last week, and he said, I'm kind of laying low because I have heart surgery next week, and I don't want to get any infections or anything. And I was like, okay, I certainly understand that. And then he posted a picture on Facebook of him at the Met game last night with a friend of his. I was like, what did happen to laying low? He goes, I postponed the surgery. I am not missing this run.
Yeah.
It's not like we're not the Yankees, man. It doesn't happen every year.
Does not happen every year. This is like a big deal. And I think they've got a good chance tonight. Quintana on the mound.
Yeah.
Just keep Maton off the mound.
Right, I agree.
He's been horrid.
They let the wrong guy go. They had that, I can't pronounce his name, Bradabaskor or something like that,
Yeah.
and they deactivated him.
Badabazan or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, and I thought he was really effective. But
yeah, I'm looking at the emails of and we get about 25, especially now that the Mets are on a run, of asking Maya and Scott's opinion on the New York Mets. And one of the questions is, and there's actually three players that were being asked: keep or go. Bader.
Keep.
I say go.
Okay.
Alonso.
Keep.
I say keep. I definitely say keep.
And that's funny because I would have traded him at the trade deadline.
I know you would have.
Not coming back, but now I think he's coming back. I think this is where he wants to be.
I think it is too. I think you might be right.
I don't think money's going to be an issue. So why would he go elsewhere?
For Uncle Steve, money is not an issue.
Right.
And the last one is tonight's pitcher, Quintana.
Keep.
I guess it all depends on what they do in the offseason. If they go for somebody, I mean, if there's somebody, I don't know if it'd be Quintana or McGill that would be like on the bubble.
I'm sure would be. My guess is it would be McGill. I
would think so as well. The other question was, we'll get to the regular one here in a minute, Brooke. Who would you rather face, Dodgers or San Diego?
I don't care.
I'd rather face San Diego.
Yeah.
I'd prefer San Diego.
Did you see what Jurickson Profar did the other day? That is the coolest thing I think I've seen on a baseball field, where he caught the home run and didn't let on that he'd caught it, but he stood there jumping up and down, taunting the Dodger fans in the outfield. And then he turned around and showed them that he had the ball.
Oh yeah.
The guy was like almost at third base before he realized he hadn't hit a home run.
Yeah.
Give the Padres a little credit there.
Little credit there. And the Dodger fans are nothing like they used to be. Used to be Dodger fans were like laid back, and now they're like throwing stuff at players and stuff. It's like, yeah, they've lost their minds a little bit. Let's see what other quick questions can we hit here. This could be a really quick session. Off season. Beyond this, just looking at what we've seen so far, number one priority.
This is really spoiled of me, but I want Soto also. I want Pete back and I want Soto.
All right, Soto and what? I mean,
that's it. The pitching is fine the way it is. Continue to strengthen that bullpen. Hopefully Diaz will be better than he has been. But
he's been shaky.
Yeah, for sure. And but I want Pete back and I want Soto in the outfield. I think that would be an awesome team. I want to be that. I don't want a one-off World Series. I want a little dynasty here. I want to
That would be
enjoy this
nice.
every year for a few years, you know?
Yeah. I mean, it's like surprising how 87. I mean, the Mets were still good, but they weren't as good.
No, and they lost to the
And
Phillies that year, right? I think,
really, yeah.
I mean, that was just those were brutal years. And then the
I mean,
next
they
year with
were.
the Dodgers, Dodgers went on that crazy run with Hershiser in '88.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're dating ourselves.
We are
But I
dating
want to,
ourselves.
and I don't want to even think about the off season. I want to get to this game tonight. I am really looking for the very entertaining baseball games.
I
And
agree.
I tried to stay up for the West Coast game, but I couldn't do it last night.
Yeah. It gets so. All right. So last question on this about the Mets. So far in the playoffs, who is the MVP for the Mets?
Hmm. I'm gonna say Lindor, but Pete's
He
been
hasn't been
amazing.
hitting. He hasn't really hit.
But I mean, he's making great plays in the field, and he will hit. But and he hit in the last series. He's not hitting now.
Right.
But who else? I don't know. Like Iglesias has been great.
Iglesias, if they don't keep Iglesias, there's something wrong with him. I
Yeah,
mean, they find a place for him. I would say Vientos.
yeah, Bantas has been great. I
I
mean,
mean,
look, when
he's
you're
hitting
this
good.
good, when you're playing as well as they are, you could pick a number of guys, and it just seems to me that that Lindor is still and I'll tell you another guy. I'll give you another guy. Starling Marte is one of these guys who just continues to come up big in big spots. And look, I don't want to. I don't want to dig too deep into this all. It's just for anybody out there who doesn't understand what the Mets are and what we have gone through as fans of this
Of
team.
course.
Please look into it. There have been books written about it, and they're pretty good books too,
Yeah.
about the craziness of this franchise, which has existed as long as I have, and I've just grown up with.
Yeah, and the last, this actually has nothing to do with the Mets. This is the last question on to sports that we'll do on this little segment. Uh, and again, I really can't speak to this one because this is not my team. The firing of the New York Jets coach
I'm
at
not
two
a
and
Jets
three.
fan,
I'm
but
not either.
But
Giants.
the Jets are like a cursed franchise, kind of like the Mets are, and whatever they decide to do is bizarre and I don't know, whatever. I mean, obviously that was Aaron, what's his name, the quarterback,
Aaron
uh,
Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers, telling he got into a shouting match with him last week, and yeah, and I think he just went to the management and said he goes or I sit, and he went.
Yeah, yeah, that's easy choice there. Easy choice. So that is our really quick segment on the New York Mets and the state of baseball. We will do another one if the Mets make it to the into the pennant series.
Well, if we're
And then
talking
if
about the Mets this time next week, I am going to be on cloud nine.
well, hopefully we're talking about the Mets in a good way and not saying what went wrong.
Oh, I'll forget it. Once they lose, I'll forget all about them for the rest of the year.
Normal
Call
Mets
me.
fans.
Call
Normal
me.
Mets fans. That's what we do.
I don't even like paying attention to baseball during the off season like so many people do. I just prefer to be there on opening day if I can and enjoy the season. Usually it's hard to enjoy the season. This year it looked like it was over in May.
Well, this year, sometime next year, you and I got to set up a time, go to a game.
What?
I'll come all the way up from South Carolina. I'll go. I haven't.
Well, we can meet somewhere in the middle, like DC.
Yeah, we could. Well, actually, believe it or not, my youngest son lives 8 blocks. He lives in Forest Park, Forest Hills.
Forest Hills.
Yeah.
Yeah, my daughter.
So he's like 8-10 blocks from Citi Field, and I've only seen it from the outside. I've never been in because every time we're up there, it's like winter.
Yeah.
So
if you're off season.
So yeah, it's always the off season. So I would really like to go in and see Citi Field,
It's
and I
kind
can
of a
always
cool
arrange it.
place.
It is. I hear it's nice, and it's always easy to do because I could always just tell the wife we're going to go up and see the grandson, and she'll say, "Yeah, okay, fine, let's go." All
And
right.
you'll go, okay, fine. There's a grandson. Okay, see ya.
Yep. There you go. There you go. Yep. See you later. There's a 3-game series over the weekend. You have fun with the grandson. I'm going to the Mets games. So that's all the time we have for today's episode. The Nova Society is a production of the Phoenix Research Institute. We'd like to thank our sponsors for this episode. BH Conflict Resolution Services, a full-service dispute resolution firm offering expert and cost-effective mediation services to couples, groups, and businesses. BHCRS can be reached at www.bhcrs.com. We'd also like to thank our podcast partners, Buzzsprout, who hosts the Nova Society, Audacity, our editing partners, and Podkite, who does all of our analytics. iHeartRadio, where people get their music and podcasts, Apple iTunes, the largest source for music and podcasts on the internet, Spotify, the most popular source for the Nova Society. The Nova Society is available on all of these and other quality platforms. We'd like to thank all of our listeners. Without you, the Nova Society would not be possible. If you have a comment, question, or would like to be a guest on the Nova Society, we can be reached at nova.society.podcast@gmail.com. Always remember, the power of society is knowledge. So for Dr. Scott Gershworth, Dr. Priscilla Hobbs, Dr. Brooklyn Ann Weldon, and all of us here at the Nova Society, I'm Dr. Mark Bound. Be well, and we hope to see you again next time.